What's up, everyone? So we'll just quickly go over FRC earnings and what's going on here. So we saw it pump pretty much all day, and especially into the earnings itself and close. It looks like a clear double top pattern form, and then it broke 200 EMA. They slammed it below 200 EMA. Okay, if you really were to pull this back though, I mean the 52-week low, guys, is this 11.7. Honestly, I don't really think we have to worry of it going there. It hit this when there was like complete uncertainty in the banking system entirely. Um, we're nowhere near that, right? And on a longer scale, you've got another double top back here, almost to the penny, right? The algos know what's up. They clearly want this range bound somewhere in between 1230 and 1680, and they're just going to run it up and down in the meantime. Now, if you were in the Discord, you would have known that we weren't expecting up to a 20% drop. And what did we actually get? More than 20%. Uh, sorry, we were expecting at like 20% wasn't going to throw us off. That's not what we were expecting. We just 20% was kind of what we were priced for. We were selling 11s and 1150 puts, and I sold a few 12s, but we mostly sold 11, 1150, and 12, meaning as long as it stays above that number, we get all that money by the end of the week. Free money, guys, uh, based on risk. And at the time, the in the money probability on these was like 1% to 5 to 10%. It was ultra low. Okay, still quite low. Um, so if you were bullish on it and you did that, that's a bullish move because you're hoping that it stays the same or it goes up, but you're still giving yourself downside protection. And doing the math, it was like 16 bucks close, right? So 16 into, I'll get it in a bit. Thanks. Sorry, 11 into 16, 68%. So we were giving ourselves 32% downside, 31.25% downside, right? That's a significant amount. So even if it fell, we're probably okay. We're totally fine. Um, Ideally, we would have woken up tomorrow and we would have been around the 13 EMA or at least at 200. This feels like a bit of an overshoot on the news that we had, but let's just go over some of this news, okay? So I don't really like this title than Benzinga. They announced a decline in deposits. How about you give us the actual numbers there, you clown show? They tend to do this a lot, okay? So the decline in deposit size is 1%, 1.7%. It's nothing. Um, where are we here? Trying to find it. Sorry. Jesus. There we go. 1.7%. Who cares? That's probably normal churn anyways. People just change what they want to do from time to time. I wouldn't be surprised if they wanted to change banks. And maybe they got stolen away by another bank. Like that's nothing. Then if you look at the beat, okay, they were expected 85 cents. Expected 85 cents. They hit 123. That's 44% more. 44.7% beat. The whole world was like, oh, these guys are going to be screwed. That's why the price was so low for so long. They beat it by 44%. 44%. And the stock is down over 25% from close. It closed at about 16 bucks, right? It's at 12.63 right now. Divide 16. It's down 21.1% from close. Down 21. You still have a slight beat here. This is like 4% and change on sales. Then you have even more what I would consider bullish news. You have they're going to lay off 25% of up. I think it said up to, yeah, 20 to 25% of the staff. So they're recognizing a situation and a problem. And what are they doing? Eliminating one of their major costs. Now they're doing this with outflows only down 1.7%. So it's almost like a freebie. They're using what happened as an excuse to fire virtually one out of every four people that work for them. That's free money in their pocket going forward. They were bailed out by JPM and some other bankers. So, I mean, are we really worried here? Or are hedges trying to take your shares on pretty good earnings? Okay. Um, if this was going to be defunct, oh, sorry, that's one more incredible piece of news here I forgot to mention. Their real estate exposure for commercial real estate is 6%. 6%. This comes from the executive. Six. So they're really faced with all these issues surrounding the meltdown of the commercial markets and all of the empty leases that are the empty buildings, people that are paying away the leases and all this stuff. 6%. So um, retaining 90% of its wealth management. I think this is a falling knife worth catching in this instance. Just looking at the chart, it just looks like a little bit of a setup. I mean, if you want to pull this back even further, let's go 3 months, one day, right? I mean, this stock, guys, this was 148 bucks. So what do you have? Is it bankrupt? No. Are these numbers telling you it's going to be bankrupt? No. Uh, like they didn't take any questions, but what questions really are left unanswered? It sounds like to me they provided all the data and they were like, we're just going to go about our business and do our thing. Uh, this is the bottom, 1152. You've crossed to the upside on the daily. Way back here when it was, what was this, March 30th. You crossed for almost an entire month. You crossed to the upside on MACD. RSI is moving from greatly oversold. It's just now gotten to almost out of oversold. It's got to hit 30. It's 28.8. So trajectory is up. And I mean, even if the 48 moving extended moving average were to fall, you're talking maybe 40 bucks price target here. All it requires is some stabilization. Outflows seem to be nothing. 1.7%. Honestly, like, who really cares? I don't care about that. You've got Bed Bath and Beyond completely closed, and I'm supposed to worry about 1.7% of the people leaving? Yeah, I don't think so. So unfortunately, the play for tomorrow, I mean, if you're in anywhere over 11.50, like 12 is going to be a little sketchy. Going to wake up probably going to be able to still close for a profit, but it's not going to be that sweet profit. What we wanted was to see a little bit of sideways action, kind of no one really cared because it was all priced in. And then you wake up and the 12 put is like 10 cents, 20 cents. You get a 50%, you get 50 cents a share profit with virtually no risk. You have to keep in mind this thing's $16 at the end of the day. So even if you entered that trade at like 15.50, that's virtually no risk. 11s and 11s, 50s, yeah, I might have to hold on to them for like one more day. Really wanted to get out of all of them to play the rest of the week. There's a lot of earnings coming up, a lot for tomorrow. But either way, should be a completely successful trade. There shouldn't be any issues. Can't imagine waking up and then magically this thing just goes from like, you know, current price 1268 to to like on sub 12 when it's already fallen. Like I said, it's fallen what 20 some odd percent. Even if we went by the open, let's go from the open, right? The open was like 1440-ish, right? 1440, call it 20 call it 16% downside, so times 0.84, you're looking at $12, 12.10. So even if it were to fall another 50 cents virtually, um, technically you're still totally fine on your options, nowhere near 11 and 1150 again. But we really don't want to see continued downwards momentum. We do want to see someone pick this up at this point. Um, it's just an update on FRC. I personally do not feel, because I know it's, for some reason it's kind of a little bit of a meme stock, or people have been piling into it. They tried to pile into like SBNY at like in the pennies and save it. I don't know why. This, but this isn't the same situation. This is just it's never went to pennies, and greatly oversold at this point. Do I think it's going to like? Do I think it's going back to 100? Nope. Do I think it's even going to go to that 40 that we talked about that I had shown? Probably not. Do I think that it should be probably up and over 15, $20? Yeah, I think so. I think that's fair. 20 bucks from 150. I mean, come on. That's 13% of its previous value. I don't really think that's too much to ask. At this point, for all we know, they're now eyeing a sale. If I, who knows, laying off staff, making themselves look real good. Like, these are our costs. This is the revenue we expect to make. That's technically not a lie. They'll be able to say that. Here's our revenue. Here's our expected. Here's what we're kind of paying in all of our costs. Does anybody want to absorb us? Now, unlike CS, um, Charles, a Credit Suisse, it might actually be like a healthy acquisition versus a toxic one. But you never know. And I mean, it didn't work out good for them either. Either way, I'm most likely going to be out of 90% of my positions here tomorrow, just so that I can be entering other plays on the week. We'll have to see about the 12s. I did take some for next week as well. Again, if it were to trade sideways or even go up, next week's would have just been even more free money, because it would have been nowhere near that, and they would have adjusted the IV. And so now they're going to go ahead and readjust all the IV and add in all this extra volatility to the play. So it is going to be an interesting. Um, it's definitely going to be an interesting week tomorrow. Absolutely. So we'll see what happens there. Free.